Hey, good luck, boy.
Good luck.
See you, bro.
After a 15-hour drive from South Georgia, we finally made it to Steuben County, Indiana. And this wasn't a random destination. This trip was the result of weeks of research, planning, and map scanning to figure out exactly where we wanted to focus our time. First, Steuben sits in the middle of several public land opportunities. We've got Pigeon River Fish and Wildlife Area, Cedar Swamp Wetland Conservation Area, and a handful of other surrounding tracts that gives you access to a wide variety of habitat. Having multiple WMAs in one region meant we could scout different terrain types, adjust based on pressure, and move around without losing entire days. Second, Steuben consistently ranks among the highest, if not the highest, in deer harvest numbers in the entire state. That alone told us that the deer population here is strong and that we had good odds of finding good sign or even getting into deer quickly. And third, the terrain here is more manageable than some areas in the state. Steuben isn't covered in steep, punishing hills. It's more rolling, open enough to move, and forgiving enough that we could put in some serious miles without getting too beat down by elevation, and for us, that was huge. We wanted a place where we could hike, scout multiple tracks, and adjust on the fly without having to deal with the big mountains slowing us down.
We're walking in, ladies and gentlemen, Indiana. We're safe. We did some scouting at a different WMA that was a few minutes down the road. Found some really good sign. Picked out a couple spots to potentially set up and put up some cameras. We came to a different WMA and we're actually gonna scout and then just sit this afternoon and then kind of reanalyze, figure out what the strategy will be for in the morning. But today we got perfect wind, southwest wind. Got my wind to my face, blowing out into this field, so should be a perfect spot. Somewhere on this tree line anyways.
After getting into the woods in the area that I picked out, I scouted around for a good 45 minutes or an hour, getting into some different terrain. I ended up kind of finding a marshy bottom that had a lot of rubs in it, some solid rubs on some bigger trees, not really any scrapes or any other signs other than some heavy beat down trails that were through some taller grass. So I kept looking around and ended up finding an old ladder stand that's been in the woods for many years that was set up right on the edge of this timber in a transition point that meets the timber and some tall marsh grass. And I decided just to pick that spot just because I was kind of facing a time restraint, not having enough time to really scout anymore, and it get dark, so I wanted to have time to sit. So I picked that spot. Ended up sitting there the rest of the afternoon. Didn't end up seeing too much. There was crazy wind. It was nearly 15 or 20 miles an hour, so we were all blowing around. But overall, decent sit and a good one in for the first day.
Me, Red, and Chad, we did a little scouting today. Checked out 2 different WMAs. Put a few cameras out. We ended up sitting here this afternoon after we did a little scouting, and I don't think anybody's seen anything. Chad's seen a doe like way far off, so we're going to get back, get to the hotel room, and kind of get a game plan going as far as where we're going to sit tomorrow. The other WMA that we scouted saw crazy tons of sign, rubs, scratch pads all over the place. We didn't have an extra camera to put over there, but we did end up jumping a deer, so it just seemed a lot more active and alive kind of over in that area. Over here, I'm seeing a lot of trails, not as many rubs and scrapes. I mean, I can definitely see where deer are moving, but it's just not very, you know, just more trails than anything. So anyways, we're having a good time. Chad's finna come pick me and Red up. I'm just waiting for him. He walked in somewhere behind me, so he'll be out in a second.
Alright, bro, give us a rundown.
A rundown? Just got up, daylight's around 7 o'clock, visible shooting light probably. But me and Dagan's found a spot where about 7 or 8 scratch pads, and then can't tell you how many rubs. I don't know if that means anything with the rut kicking off. But we do know bucks has been in that area, so he's gonna say go set over to the scratch pads. I'm gonna go in blind. I don't really know a tree I'm gonna get. I'm just gonna go looking at the map. Chad's found a spot. He had a couple of does coming down the ridge last night. So there's some deer moving in his area. So, but later this evening, it's supposed to start snowing this evening. So snow's good, but snow's good without all the wind. So we're probably just gonna play it by ear and see what the snow's gonna be like. But I prefer to hunt in the snow. Deer's gonna move. Deer's gonna move in the snow. These deer here's got bigger bodies, so they're built for the snow. Like me and Dagan, we from the south. We ain't built for the snow. But you know what? We'll be in it. Chad, in other words, I think he's scared of the snow. But if you're not used to, I've been out west, I've been to Kansas. The first time I've been to Indiana, but I'm telling Chad, like, the wind's gonna blow, especially in Kansas. The wind's gonna blow. It's gonna blow constantly. I mean, if you gonna play the wind like that, you probably won't ever go if you ever went to Kansas, because it blows non-stop out here. But like here, I'm not sure. Trying to get this man. He's had a shower.
What?
He's looking all spiffy this morning. Looking like a stud muffin. I don't know if that counts for shooting big deer, but maybe so.
Maybe so. So it ain't gonna be that cold day though.
Right. Supposed to get to 39.
Well, that ain't cold with no wind.
It's gonna be about like yesterday, but the wind made it a little colder. But we didn't see but one deer out of 3 of us, but we're gonna try a different area in one. You can't not. There's people hunting, because between 3 head we found 6 like ladder stands and a lock on posted up. So we're gonna go give it a try.
Day 2 went just about the same as day 1 did. Didn't see very much. Did a lot of scouting. Sit number 1, I didn't really see much more than this squirrel. Red sat maybe 100, 150 yards away from me, and he ended up seeing a couple of does and like a small 6-point. And I don't think Chad saw much of anything. Once we got down, we did a lot more scouting. I ended up finding a big cornfield that was on private, so I hiked like 1,200 yards through the marsh to get to this cornfield. And to me, it felt like it was the best chance to be able to see some action. I seen a lot of trails, deer sign in that area. I knew that they had to be eaten, so I figured cornfield, let's set up and see what we can find. I think the other guys set up kind of more into the marsh, we got a tip from a guy that hunted kind of near this general area that a lot of these deer were hunting closer to water, keeping the water beside them and walking through the tall, like marshy swamp grass that was around the area. So after further investigation, we kind of confirmed that there was a lot of deer sign and trails cutting through those areas. So the rest of our hunts, we really tried to kind of focus to be in a more swampy, marshy kind of area. And you'll see right now, as I pan over, that there's a lot of like tall 6 or 8 foot grass, and the deer just bed in and moving all through this kind of stuff because they just have really good cover.
Snowing, baby. Chad said it ain't. You got the key?
All right, dog. We need the rundown for today. What's the rundown?
Rundown. It's snowing, and everybody's scared to death of the snow to hunt in it because we from South Georgia, sir. We never see snow. I've seen it before. Dagan's never hunted in snow. Chad's never hunted in snow, and I don't think he's.
Chad ain't hunting today at all.
Chad's scared to death of snow.
We're gonna walk around for a little bit, see if we can get in the spot. We ended up kind of waiting until daylight so we could see a little bit better because we were thinking about switching up where we're going. So Red's getting signed in. Looks like there's only 3 other hunters out here
Right now
at this check stand, so that should be good. We done seen 2 does coming in, so they're definitely moving right now. Just can we find a spot and not get piled up with snow is the question.
Sign in. Let's go get the snow. Well, first off, we walked into a spot we ain't never hunted before. Like 2 dumbasses. And that shit don't work if you can't get through there, then you done blow the whole fucking area up.
We about to go try to find somewhere else to sit. Me and Brad thought we knew what we were doing this morning, marching in here in the snow. And we walk in, there's a couple of ground blinds, so we're looking at them and hoping nobody's in them. We get to the second one, somebody's in there. But we end up walking past them. Walking to the end of this little road. We're trying to get over a creek. It's on the other side of this hill. But we couldn't get to it. It's just too thick. The snow was just covering up all the trails and everything. We couldn't barely see. So that's when we ended up backing out. Meeting up down there. Red ended up going to the other side of this ridge. I ended up finding a ladder stand over here on this side, so I just ended up climbing here. I was going to try to get a little bit closer to the lake, which is back behind me, but it started getting real thick over there. And honestly, I just figured it'd be better to just sit right here, so it's a pretty good spot. I'm going to sit here most of the afternoon, see if we can see something coming by. We ended up seeing maybe 6 or 7 deer this morning just driving in, so the deer are definitely up on their feet, so it's just a matter of waiting. Hopefully we can get one. And yeah.
The previous day we found 2 really big scrapes on the hill that's directly in front of me. Red went back over this hill and sat kind of on the other side near the scrapes. Back behind me is a lot of marshy swamp grass, and really just at this point we were just hoping that something would come out. We did see a lot of fresh tracks like through the snow, which was kind of promising, but we were not expecting to not be able to see any tracks or trails that were already there. The snow just had everything covered up and was pushing down branches, and trees were falling down because of the snow. It was kind of crazy. So honestly, the morning was a little bit of a bust. This afternoon, I ended up going back over to the cornfield, sitting over there again, and I ended up seeing a few real small does. I mean, it looked like they just lost their spots. So day one in the snow wasn't really too fun, to be honest. It was really just a whole cluster, and scouting was just completely out of the window because the snow just covered up every single piece of sign that you could honestly see. Red really liked the spot that he found the previous afternoon, which was a few hundred yards down from me in the trails. But since it was just kind of so hard to navigate through the snow, he ended up just Xing that spot off his radar. He had a camera over there as well and wasn't getting any pictures. So he sat a couple hundred yards to my right in a ground blind. And from there, he's seen a few does entering and exiting that cornfield as well. A couple of different ones that I didn't see. Until he walks over to me before we get down. And that right there was kind of the nail in the coffin for us. Honestly, we were both glad at the end of the day that he did miss that shot, because we were about 1,200 yards away from the truck. And we really didn't feel like field dressing that thing and toting it out. But at the same time, we were really getting beat down. Days of hard hunting, not seeing any sign, not seeing any deer. It was just starting to kind of add up. After this hunt, we decided that we don't really want to deal with the snow anymore. We ended up packing up, checking out some other WMAs that are a little bit more south. But as we got there, saw the terrain, got out, did a little scouting, we really weren't feeling too confident, and we were 15 hours away from the house still. And we just decided it was probably time to wrap it up. Being so far from the house, we just thought it'd be a better idea to just go ahead, get back on the 15-hour drive back to South Georgia. Big shout out to all of you guys still watching the video. I really appreciate it. A lot of time and effort goes into making these things, and I couldn't do it without you. If you're just tuning in, don't forget to like and subscribe, and as always, stay Nock'd.